work together on projects, there's a few things where the gap between the science of how to do these things and what actually happens in the real world is really big. One of them is trying to figure out the scope of the project, figuring out the requirements of the system. There's a lot of science behind what we could do effectively. And then there's what's actually done on projects, which is generally a lot lighter than that. The other area where this occurs, where there's a huge gap between the science of what could be done and what's actually done, is figuring out how big something is going to be or how long it's going to take to get something done. The science of estimation. This course is a course to give you a lot of the principles behind the science of estimation so you can be more effective. My goal is to help you build an understanding of how to put together an effective estimate. We'll step back and even talk about what an estimate really is and how to use your estimates as a way of effectively managing expectations with other stakeholders throughout the project. I worked with a student at UBC a number of years ago where he did some research about what really happens in technology projects. He was working largely with software developers, and he looked into what they were doing when they said they were estimating. Turns out they weren't really doing much of anything that would resemble the science of estimation. They were guessing, they were targeting, they were coming up with a number that would get the boss out of their office so they could get back to work. They were doing pretty well anything you can imagine other than technically trying to understand credibly how long it's going to take to get something done. In the real world, unfortunately, a lot of what we call estimation really has to do with managing power and inappropriately managing expectations. And we need to get past that. If we're going to collaborate effectively, we are all best served to have our best understanding of how long we expect things to take. That is going to give us the best schedules that we can produce that become useful tools for tracking how we're progressing on our projects. That is the best way that we can manage expectations with everybody that's involved in the project. That is just good practice. A lot of people haven't really been trained in how to put together an effective estimate. And when you're in an organization where a lot of the practice has to do with power and influence and managing expectations in inappropriate manners, you kind of fall into that trap. Generally, we are trained when we're asked how long it's going to take to do something to come up with a single point number. That, as you'll find out in this workshop very soon, isn't an estimate at all. I'm Jim Brasso. I've worked on technology projects and with organizations for the past 35 or 40 years, spending some time in very technical, detailed projects where I had to come up with estimates. And I had to learn over time how to put together an estimate effectively. My goal in this workshop is to transfer a lot of the understanding of what an estimate is and how to put together an estimate and how to make sure that you've got shared effective understanding so that you can work together on the project effectively. I want to welcome you to this course on estimation. I hope you get a lot out of it.